Everyone who puts on our nation's uniform makes a commitment to serve and sacrifice for the freedoms we cherish as Americans. Purple Heart recipients bear the scars of that commitment, carrying injuries both seen and unseen. Over 1,800,000 Purple Hearts have been awarded to the men and women of our military. During a beautiful week in early autumn, the National Purple Heart Honor Mission's 2023 Patriot Project mission brought together Purple Heart heroes from across the nation. These heroes were chosen not just for their performance on the battlefield, but for the lives they have lived and continued service to others since concluding their military service. Men and women emblematic of our nation's diversity, coming from small towns and big cities, heroes of different ethnicities and religions, representing the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. These honorees are men and women who tell harrowing stories of bravery, share memories of friends lost, the struggle to recover from devastating wounds, and how their experiences shaped their lives once they returned home from combat. Regardless of how they entered military service, all the Purple Heart recipients value their service as a moment in their lives that shaped who they are today. They don't see themselves as heroes. That term is reserved for those that didn't return. Each of them will tell you they were simply doing their jobs, the same as the men and women to their right and to their left. For 4 days, the National Purple Heart Honor Mission celebrated these Purple Heart recipients with events and tributes in New York City, at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, with a private tour of the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor, the museum built to honor our heroes, and a tour of General George Washington's historic headquarters, where the badge of military merit, the precursor to the Purple Heart, was established during the American Revolution. They hear from military leaders and other veterans how grateful the nation is for their service. Our heroes receive a welcome home community rally that is particularly meaningful for our Vietnam veterans. For some, the Patriot Project is a homecoming they never received. For others, it is a testament to the fact that their sacrifice has not been forgotten. It's also a time to heal. Patriot Project honorees have a rare opportunity to speak to each other about their shared experiences. For some, the Patriot Project is the first time they've spoken in detail with another Purple Heart hero about their service in many decades.
I've never seen the Statue of Liberty. I haven't seen World Trade Center since 9/11. This is absolutely amazing.
Well, this is fabulous for the Purple Hearters, seeing the Statue of Liberty, seeing all these things that you hear about and see it in reality. It's just fabulous. I'm glad I'm here.
That's the American dream right there, right? That's what everyone aspires for. That's what we fight for.
Pretty amazing, especially with the FDNY giving us our salute. Been a New Yorker all my life, and that's the first time I got to see the statue.
This is an amazing opportunity for all of us. And it's America. It's patriotism. It's comradeship. It's overwhelming.
It's tranquil. I think it's the most serene thing I've ever seen. Everything that started in America started right here. I think makes me even prouder to be an American.
Every year we bring Purple Heart patriots from every state to New York to celebrate them, to celebrate their accomplishments both in combat and, more importantly, when they came home, how they've continued to serve others. It's critical that we educate the next generation of Americans that the sacrifice of these great men and women is what allows them the freedoms to move freely in this country. You know, when we went by, that fireboat it's New York Fire Department boat 343. And there was 343 firefighters passed away running into those towers to save lives. None of them worked in the towers. All 343 went into those towers, not dissimilar to the men and women in this room who did what their country asked for them, answered the call to duty, and left a lot on the battlefield.
You know, there's the saying goes that good times create soft men, but those soft men create hard times, and those hard times then create hard men and women. And many of you are sitting here today, you've given a lot for this country, and it can never be repaid.
The last letters that guys wrote home before they were killed in action. And that's what's been inscribed on the last blocks.
It's like we've known each other for years, you know.
Well,
Yeah, I love it.
we're like brothers. But
And I haven't heard one war story. It's just everybody. I'm in the Marines or I was in the Army. And yeah, that's it, which is great.
World War II, if you think about it, they normally went over as a unit. They fought 2, 3, 4 years as a unit and came back as a unit, as did the Iraq and Afghanistan. They came back as a unit also to parades. And the Vietnam veteran was isolated by choice. We very rarely, we went over sometimes as a unit, but we come back as individuals.
We had 1,500 MIA still today. Keep them in your prayers. And of course, we pay homage to the 58,000 and plus that were killed in Vietnam. Please don't let our service in Vietnam be erased.
I mean, I was only 15 at the time when it happened, but I remember I was back in Germany at the time, and we were watching it on TV, and even though we were crying and feeling for everyone over here, it was a big inspiration for me too to actually join the military.
We offer a prayer of gratitude for the countless acts of heroism, kindness, and selflessness that emerged from the ashes of 9/11. Restore our faith in the goodness of humanity and help us to be instruments of your love and healing in the world. We offer this prayer in the name of all those affected by the events of September 11th, and the name of your boundless love and mercy. Amen.
I went ahead and woke up my husband at the time, and I said, something's wrong. Check with your family from New York. He says his family all was okay. And then the next thing we did is we better call the base. We both reported that we were ready for duty, as we knew something was going on. But what we must never forget is the invisible wounds of war that affect us still today. So many in my unit and that I served with, and probably you as well, have succumbed to suicide because of the invisible wounds of war. Even some people that were here on 9/11.
Let us never forget the lessons we learned from 9/11 and always remember what guided us through here. We honor the memory of those who we lost on that fateful day, as well as the service members in the aftermath.
We woke up with a phone call saying report. So we reported. 2 days later, it was in the pile, looking for bodies. The thing that I take out of this the most is that when it happened, we all came together as a nation.
And so our mission here is to collect, preserve, and share the stories of Purple Heart recipients. Roll of Honor database that we have is a computerized database which does contain the names of all those currently enrolled in a Roll of Honor. As a matter of fact, during your visit this morning, you can check your profile out to make sure everything is okay.
We have honorees that are here with their spouses, their grandchildren, their sons and daughters, and the family members are coming up to meet and saying, I never knew that about Dad. And they're learning things and about their spouses. They never knew what they went through, and they have a greater appreciation. Without his and his family's generosity, the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor and the Honor Mission would not exist. Please join me in honoring the only private I have ever met who has a colonel for an aide. My dear friend and mentor, please welcome Mr. William Kaplan. This is the highest honor we can bestow. The Genesis Legacy Medal presented to William Kaplan for his extraordinary philanthropic work and steadfast support of our nation's veterans and Purple Heart heroes.
It's the most awe-inspiring program I could ever imagine, it, honoring all the recipients of the Purple Heart. Thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
It's been wonderful, and every day, just from day one, it just got better.
Very honored to be here with such a distinguished group. We're grateful that you all came here. You're all models and inspirations for service, not only for those of us still in, but for the cadets in the crowd who have been able to hear your stories.
Armories like this have served as our citizen soldiers' homes for generations and have been the backbone of our nation. The brave heroes who have joined us today are the best of the best our nation has to offer, because service to others is simply part of who they are. They represent their states and all Purple Heart recipients proudly.
To our heroes here on the stage and a lot of their escorts, the cadets really responded to that and how much of an example you are to them. And then this one other cadet said, you know, the history of the United States is captured in this one small piece of ground here at the Academy. He said that the soul of your nation is captured by the soul of those who serve. He says he could see that sort of the genius of America is exemplified by folks like this. And I mean, it was amazing that he had picked that up in such a short amount of time. I said, well, actually, interesting you should say that, because tomorrow I'm going to have the honor to be with a number of great Americans that are Purple Heart recipients, all the way from World War II up through our most recent conflicts, Iraq and Afghanistan. And then the question he asked is, well, what's a Purple Heart? If you get wounded in combat, you get you will receive the Purple Heart. He says, well, we don't have one of those either. And he was amazed again that we have such reverence for those that sacrifice. And he says, you know, it's not a mistake why the United States in many ways is the envy of the world. And it's not because of your economy, it's not because of the great landscape, which we have and all that. He says it's because of the way people are willing to sacrifice themselves for your nation.
These heroes' service and sacrifice has taken them around the world to keep our nation and our people free and safe. The 2023 Purple Heart Patriot Project mission was an opportunity to say thank you on behalf of a grateful nation. Each of these men and women carry the scars of war, both seen and unseen, and many have returned from combat zones almost too brutal to imagine. Each has become an important part of their families, their professions, and communities in part because of their service and sacrifice. Our nation can never repay them for their sacrifice. However, we can ensure that they feel, in a very personal way, the lasting appreciation for their service. That's a noble cause for the nation, and that's what the Purple Heart Patriot Project is all about. It's about paying tribute to their sacrifice, remembering those who didn't make it home, and continuing the lifelong process of healing through fellowship. Across the generations and miles, they come together for this special time and leave knowing we will never forget.